What would you do if someone saved your life, but you could never repay them? This story will remind you that true kindness never goes unnoticed by Allah. In the bustling, sun-drenched streets of ancient Damascus, a city alive with the sounds of merchants and travelers, lived a humble laborer named Faris. His hands were rough, his back ached, but his heart was full of love for his one and only treasure, his little daughter, Noor. Every single day, he would wake before the sun, say his prayers, and head out to find work, his only goal to earn enough to see Noor smile when he brought home a piece of bread. He worked tirelessly, carrying heavy loads, his body often pushed to its absolute limit, all for her. One sweltering afternoon, the heat was relentless. Faris was carrying a load of heavy wood, far heavier than a man of his build should have been lifting. The sun beat down on his head, sweat poured down his face, blurring his vision. Each step became a monumental effort. He felt his legs tremble, his head spin. Then, in the shadow of a grand, ornate house, the world went dark. He collapsed right there on the dusty path, the wood scattering around him. The owner of the house, a wealthy and respected merchant named Idris, heard the commotion. He was a man blessed with abundance, his warehouses full, his table always laden with the finest foods. Peeking out his window, he saw Faris lying unconscious. Many would have simply closed their curtains, dismissing it as none of their concern, but Idris was different. He saw not a poor laborer, but a fellow human being in distress. Without a moment's hesitation, he rushed outside. He called for his servants, and together they carefully carried into the cool interior of his home. Idris himself brought a cool cloth for Faris's forehead and a cup of refreshing water. When Faris finally stirred, his eyes fluttering open, he found himself not on the hot dusty street, but in a soft, comfortable bed. He was confused, disoriented. Where was he? Idris sat beside him with a kind smile. "Easy now, my friend," he said gently. "You collapsed from exhaustion. Rest here." Faris tried to get up, protesting. "Sir, I must work. My daughter ... But Idris simply placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Your daughter will be fine. First, you must regain your strength." For the next few days, Idris insisted that Faris stay. He was given nourishing meals, food more delicious and plentiful than anything Faris had ever tasted. He was given a clean set of clothes. More importantly, he was treated with dignity and respect. When Faris was strong enough to leave, he stood before Idris, his heart overflowing with a gratitude so immense he couldn't find the words. "Sir," he stammered, his voice thick with emotion, "how can I ever repay you? I have nothing. I am just a poor laborer." Idris simply smiled and replied, "You owe me nothing. Consider it a duty from one believer to another. Just pray for me and take care of your little Noor. That is all the repayment I need." Faris left that day with not just a full stomach, but a heart forever touched by an act of pure, selfless kindness. He never forgot the face of the man who had saved him. Years passed. Life, as it often does, continued its unpredictable dance of fortune and fate. The city of Damascus changed, and so did the lives of our two men. Faris, through his relentless hard work and the blessings of Allah, had managed to build a better life for himself and his daughter. He was no longer a day laborer struggling for a piece of bread. He had started a small but successful carpentry business. His hands were still rough, but now they crafted beautiful furniture instead of just hauling wood. He had a modest, comfortable home, and Noor, now a young woman, was his pride and joy. But as Faris's fortune rose, Idris's fortunes took a tragic and devastating turn. One night, a fire broke out in the city's main market. It spread with terrifying speed, consuming everything in its path. Idris's warehouses, the source of all his wealth, were turned to ash. The fire didn't stop there. It reached his beautiful home, the very same house where he had once sheltered Faris, and devoured it completely. In a single night, Idris lost everything. His wealth, his home, his status, all gone. He found himself standing in the street, covered in soot, with nothing but the clothes on his back. The friends who had once flocked to his lavish dinner parties were nowhere to be seen. The people who had sought his favor now turned their heads, pretending not to recognize him. He was alone, destitute, and heartbroken. He wandered the city, a ghost of his former self, sleeping in alleyways and begging for scraps of food. The world that had once celebrated him had now utterly forgotten him. One evening, as Idris sat huddled in a corner, trying to shield himself from the cold wind, a figure stopped before him. Idris looked up, his eyes weary, and saw a man with a kind face looking down at him with concern. The man's face seemed vaguely familiar, but Idris couldn't place it. "Sir," the man said softly, his voice full of compassion. "You look like you are in trouble. Please, come with me. Let me offer you a warm meal and a place to rest." Tears welled up in Idris's eyes. It was the first act of kindness he had received since his world had fallen apart. He was too weak and defeated to refuse. He followed the man through the winding streets to a humble but clean and welcoming home. The man introduced his daughter, a graceful young woman who immediately brought him water and prepared a plate of hot food. As Idris ate, the warmth of the food and the kindness of his hosts began to thaw his frozen heart. He looked at the man properly for the first time. He saw the strength in his hands, the wisdom in his eyes. I don't know how to thank you," Idris said, his voice cracking. "I have lost everything. No one would even look at me." The man smiled, a gentle, knowing smile. "Do you not recognize me, sir?" he asked. Idris looked closer, searching his memory, and then it hit him. The eyes, the voice. It was Faris, the poor laborer he had helped all those years ago. Idris's jaw dropped in disbelief. "Faris, is it truly you?" Faris nodded. "Yes, it is me." He then leaned in and said something that shattered Idris's remaining despair. "You once helped a man who had nothing but a hungry daughter waiting for him. You gave him shelter and food and dignity when he had nothing to offer in return. Now it is my turn. Let me do the same for you." Idris broke down completely, weeping uncontrollably. Not tears of sorrow for what he had lost, but tears of overwhelming gratitude and awe. All the kindness he had put out into the world, expecting nothing back, had found its way back to him in his darkest hour. As Idris wept, Faris knelt beside him and whispered the profound truth that had governed his own life. "Do not weep, my friend," he said softly. "Kindness never dies. It is a seed you plant. You may forget you planted it, but it never forgets to grow. It only comes back to you, bigger and more beautiful, when Allah wills it." This beautiful story reminds us of a powerful lesson. A good deed is never ever lost. It's an investment in your own soul. You might not see the returns immediately, but trust that in Allah's perfect plan, that kindness will find its way back to you, often when you need it the most. It is a light that you shine into the world, and that light will always find its way back to illuminate your own path. If this story touched your heart and reminded you of the incredible power of kindness, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I'd love to know, have you ever experienced something like this? A time when your kindness came back to you in an unexpected way? Share your story in the comments below. Let's fill this space with positivity and inspire each other. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that feed the soul. Until next time, stay kind.